I was going to shut the whole thing off. Get it to do that.
Is there a bunch of stars?
Alright, sure. Let's kind of go around and I'll show you guys these answers. So, Anne Bonnie is the first person shot, right? Always showing a mugshot, right? So this is one of the few pictures you can find of Anne with a shirt on, because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. Obviously her hair color is red. That's what I was waiting for out of your device. The names of her parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a secondary Mary, which is part of the reason why I left that specific fact out. Again, Mary Reed was the friend/lover, and then Mary Brennan was the mother. So again, you weren't expecting it. I also like to show you Calico Jack, just because it's always interesting to see what Disney bases are, who they base their characters off of. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed, so they were fancy jackets, Calico Jack. So again, the name of his ship was called the Kingston. None of you should have been listening for the word Kingston, but the word King would actually suffice in this location. Kingston, the only time we've ever actually had it come up full, has been on the SB-11, so Arlene's device. So that was kind of the Jack with his fancy jackets. But again, King would actually suffice in this location. We would actually take that. Did you guys ask any other questions that I need to know as I'm kind of going through the data? Did you guys go awry a little bit, go rogue with your questioning? No, you guys stuck to the same two questions? Okay. Again, I always ask that just so I can kind of, have a gist in case something pops up when I'm doing my review. And I told you, I'd be honest with you, through the whole evening, this has been pretty light. And I think it's because we struggled with some of our spirit boxes a little bit. So when I go through the recordings and all of the video recordings, hopefully we actually captured a little bit more. So your data tomorrow morning, I'm going to stop the audio now. That should give me a basic gist of how much data you're going to actually have coming back to you. I don't keep track of time. It's a matter of like, if we have evidence, we obviously stay longer to try to capture even more. I don't like stare at my watch all night going, we've been here for 15 minutes, we have to go. Unless of course there's cops and fire trucks rolling up, then it's time to go. But your data tomorrow morning, when I compile it all, I'm usually done by noon. Sometimes if I have to research something a little bit further, it usually takes me about 1 o'clock or so. So don't, you guys are going to be either on your drives home or you're going to be, see it says an hour and 53 minutes on the dot, so definitely about 6.5 to 7 hours worth of data grand total, depending on how great the videos did. So I was watching those all night long. They both did pretty well. So you're going to have a lot of data to go through, plus all of the reading I'm going to give you is going to give you a good 9 to 11 hour work day. So again, that's what you guys paid for. And Charles like, really? You want to give me more reading and shit to do? So, supposed to be on vacation. But again, with my links that'll be in there, I always, at least if something is weak, I still give you like, hey, this is vague or it's a light touch, but here's where I'm getting this data from. So you'll always have links to be able to verify all of that information. I always also make sure everything is downloadable. The videos will go to YouTube, so that way you guys don't have to keep visiting my website over and over and over again. The audio pieces will be MP3s. You can right-click them and download those. My notes and links will all be, you can copy and paste them into a Word document, and you will get all of that back, so that way you can save it as you're going through all of your media. And make sure everything is downloadable. I also created a field guide. So if you're having trouble with watching the thermal imaging video or listening to something, it's fine. Go to the field guide. It'll tell you exactly how things are going in your particular type of recording, so that way you know what you're looking for or what you're watching for. So again, pretty light as far as what we normally see as far as evidence goes, but again, it wasn't, that's not the whole point of doing this. It's all about the history. So if you don't know your history, the evidence doesn't mean shit. Let's just put it out there. So as I start collecting these devices, and of course we got another yawn from AJ, good job. So, he's the winner tonight. I will start collecting. You guys can ask me a million questions if you like, but I also want to give you guys my cards so you guys have a way to get a hold of me in case you guys do find something in your data or have more questions about your devices. So I'll take your crazy device, which I was hoping for the color red to actually show up. It did not. So yours. Nice job on this one. This one's not easy to listen to.
It's not. That one.
Nothing
when the car just going past your light.
But this one
That's
gives
the
us
radio.
Yeah. We'll just say that.
The ball.
Alright, here I'm just that ready. On the tour. So it made complete sense as to why one of them passed out on the tour the minute we entered the space. So again, these are the reasons why I give those heated warnings. We never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So let's let's have some fun at our last stop. Let's get those spirit boxes loud and proud. Again, we're going to stay out of the way of the other tours with the cameras, and then we'll know within the first 5 minutes if this is going to be an active space for us tonight or not, based on what you guys are telling me. Charles, as far as yours goes, get that REM pod turned on, because I do not expect colors out of yours and any numbers out of yours. However, if you want to ask Anne what her hair color is, she may show you on the REM pod. So again, it's not a reading we always see, but we will get it from her from time to time. Everybody else, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. I'm going to grab my bag and head over towards the wall.
Hmm?
I said I'm probably gonna shower.
I'm going to give you my tote back so make sure I don't need light.
Ask her what the name of her parents were.
Huh?
I said, ask her what the name of her parents were. Well, the mistress and her dad. Well, her mom, the mistress. And her dad, stepdadish. Maybe it was her actual dad.
What is your father's name, Anne? Hunter.
Keep hearing Stranger Things. The one who sings that is Kate. Katie? I think it's Kate. Let's see for the name. This is our song. Didn't that sound like a song you sing on a ship?
I don't hear it.
Kate Bush.
Double inhaler, don't go sleep. And what is your mistress' name?
The mom. Her mother.
Same thing.
No, it's not her mistress. She's not the one cheating in marriage.
What is your mistress' name?
A mistress is someone is being cheated by. Who's being cheated by? What is your mother's name? What is the name we heard earlier? Hunter?
I heard Walter.
Yeah, I heard it too.
We're about to go around this corner. See if we get some over there.
Got anything coming up at all?
Oh, we got 2 males named.
What'd you get?
Hunter and what was the other one?
Walter.
Hunter and Walter?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a fun thing. Yeah, Francis was also on her, but I got nothing on either one of those, on any of those names. And I'm not getting anything over here. Were you able to get anything from the front? Did you check out the front of the car?
We're about to go there now.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and see if you can get up in front, because a lot of times we get a lot of tours cut through here, as you can see. It's kind of difficult to get over there sometimes. If you can get some footage, great. Come on back over. I'm going to bring everybody to the wall here in just a minute.
This is a terrific spot to take a photo of the St. Philip Spire before we get up closer. So if you guys want to take your photos, take them now, and we'll get up closer in just a second.
Song the memories bring back. Ain't that song got whistles in it? In the memories.
They're very thick.
That's right. I'm holding it down so they will record it. Mm-hmm. Hmm? Yeah, Carol. Huh?
That they won't let you in the tunnel. It's dangerous in there. Those tunnels are 18th century, early 18th century.
Has anyone gone in yet?
I've had people tour them.
You hurting? You hurting? When you get home, use that soap. Davidson.
Are you talking about my sleep audio?
Mm-hmm. You need to sit down.
You get anything?
We got David, Walter, and Hunter.
You got what?
David, Walter, and Hunter.
Literally just names.
They'd never be here and stuff.
We got different stuff. Can you put the phone down?
All right. Anything crazy going on with your devices?
I just heard the word fight.
That's good. That's
That was
actually
plain as day.
good. That's something we actually commonly hear here. Anything else going on over there?
50.
50?
Conference.
It's a palmetto bug, everybody.
It's a what?
Palmetto bug.
No,
If you haven't seen one of those yet, I'd be like in shock.
no, I haven't.
Really? How long have you been here?
Cockroach.
Just today. He's trying to force you.
I live here. We're friends. And look at you guys all like scattered away from me now. That's hysterical. Yeah, nice. 50 and 20. All right. Anything else coming up on your spirit boxes? Going once, twice. All right.
I got the word Satan.
Satan. Yeah. Again, the app is meant to try to scare us. We're gonna throw stuff like that away. All right. So let's talk about why we're here. You guys really like worrying about this palmetto bug over here? I'll move up. So it's where I get to take a break from the bag. Back to cinema, by the way. So welcome to the Powder Magazine, everybody. So we're going to be discussing that little building over there, and I'll explain why we're here in just a moment. Everybody recording? All right, that's it. You guys are on it. First off, those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. Nobody explained what earthquake bolts to you. Those are basically turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it will straighten the building back up again by tightening it up. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the only reason I bring this up is because these are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because Anne Bonny was here during its construction, and it is a familiar building. You can imagine we do not have many buildings this old. So again, that's why we're here. It's normally like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. So, we talked about those Charlestown walls earlier. Where that garage sits over there, that's where the wall actually stood going up Cumberland Street, and it went up about half a block past the Powder Magazine and started going south behind me towards the battery. It locks the gunpowder magazine into the corners of the... Anybody else hear a buzzing? Is that coming from the garage?
I heard about, but a little bit ago.
Yeah.
No, I heard like some
Okay.
type of. I do hear it's like a beep, weird. I don't know if it was a chuckle, but it went away. It was like some type of chime,
Okay.
and I thought I was like, I thought I muted it, but it was
Okay.
really weird.
Again, I'm hearing
But
like
it sounded like
ringing.
Yeah, I hear it. It's like a.
It's got to be coming from the drive. I heard something coming out of there earlier. And you guys can see why I brought us back here, because that's what happens with all the other tools. They like to just cut through here, and we're going to spread out and investigate here in just a few minutes. But anyway, that wall, again, the reason why it puts the gunpowder magazine into the corners is because if it gets hit from a pirate cruise ship or a Revolutionary warship from the water 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time making it this far. But let's say it does, and it's going to hit the powder magazine. The walls are 32 inches thick. It's going to have a hard time going all the way through it. So in the event that it does, there is sand underneath those shingles that you see that's supposed to go up with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. The sand is still there because it's not hot enough here to compress that sand and turn it into glass. So again, that sand was laid there in the early 1700s and it still exists. So we had to do some repairs to the roof, but again, that's why it's there. That whole sand in the roof thing is another great idea, but that doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get hit, and the sand went up in the air, but the building burned to the ground. This one's just never been attacked, even though it served in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So again, we're here because of the familiarity to Anne Bonny. So during its construction, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government, 10 years, small building? No, not at all. But the story begins right in the middle of its construction, 1708. Try to follow me, there's a few twists. I will slow down on those twists. Anne Cormac moves here from Ireland in 1708. She's here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? Yes, I thought so. We got a few chuckles. That's good.
I got hi mom earlier.
What's that?
I got hi mom earlier.
Hi, Mom. How far ago?
like probably like 5 minutes ago. Like this is like right before you're talking about the beeping noise.
Okay. But again, mom probably wouldn't have been a term they would have used. So, tit for tat on that one. So, I'll write it down, but it is not like to me like, oh my god, we have, it's her saying hello to her mother. But anyway, so with that said, the three of them and her father and his mistress, her mother, are running away from his wife. How angry was this wife that they had to leave their country of Ireland to come here? Just saying. But anyway, they land in Georgetown, and Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. So that's why we're here, because of the building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was only 10 to 12 years old. So again, I give you that because I want you to have the mentality of this young lady as we go through her story. So we're going to fast forward. This building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne's going to fall in love because she wants her freedom, just like a man. Guy number one. Yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's a handful of them. Guy number one is James Bonney. You can already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her full name of Anne Bonney. Her dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonney, a famous female pirate. But when they get there, James is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer, a spy for the British, a coward in her eyes. So a few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number two. This guy is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of, just so everybody kind of knows who this guy is. So literally, this guy is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. Jack has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? Girls are bad luck on a pirate ship. So, yes, you can't put her on the ship. But he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you can be a pirate on my crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because back home in Ireland, Dad used to dress her as a boy apprentice to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world. I'm a pirate now, let's do this. We're all adults here, let's put two and two together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and that's going to get Jack voted off. So Jack takes her to Cuba and says, has the baby over here, these are friends of mine, come back later, we'll figure it out. She has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happens to the child, by the way. No amount of resources can tell me. But she's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. And while she was away giving birth to Jack's baby, he captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad because he's angry about her dressed like a female, just because she wants to, kind of push his buttons a little bit. So the guy she's flirting with down below deck, we're on guy number 3 in case you lost track, turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males, just on the same ship, trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain. But the British find out where they are. So they send their entire fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannon jet. They haven't been pirates for very long. And obviously, them 2 ladies taking on an entire fleet is not going to work out. They get arrested. And as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, Calico Jack, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. So the word dog shows up here a lot on the spirit boxes, just so you guys know. But the judge, his name is the same as mine. If Nicholas shows up, it's usually relevant to him, not me. So he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly after he's tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So they're already dead and gone. So the 2 ladies go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. So the last thing they say is, we plead our bellies, meaning they are claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging, but Dad is still here in Charleston with his Irish money. He was an attorney back home. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. And she has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died a year later in 1721 in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most records will say fever, but I'm sure it was much nastier than just fever. So, 2 things I left out here for all you spirit box folks. And because you guys pretty much know what you're doing by now. So with this, I left out the name of Anne Bonney's parents. That's the father and his mistress. And I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship that Anne was part of. So you can ask those 2 questions. Everything else is fair game. I just left those 2 things out so you guys would actually have something to get started with. As far as those of you with cameras, if you want to get footage of the front of the powder magazine, you can do that. Just stay out of the way of the other tours. Leave the lot and make a left in front of those bushes, and you'll be right in front of the powder magazine if you want to try to capture some footage up there. I am going to head over to that wall, but I'm going to kind of give you one more minute of, a little bit of what goes on here. There was a reason why I gave you that heated warning at the beginning of the tour. Back in September of last year, I brought my group back here just like this, and the kid next to me starts to go white as a ghost, like literally about to drop. And it was a nice, cool, breezy night. There's no heat, no humidity. I had to pick him up by his armpit in order to be able to stop him from getting his head hit on the ground. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him. We take him over to that wall, get him a bottle of water, he's feeling better, and then tell the story. It's important to know that they don't know the Anne Bonny tale that I just told you. Afterwards, I spread everybody out with their devices, and then two guys pull me aside and say, Nick, we gotta tell you, we are two transgender males, meaning I had two females dressed as males. So I kind of get through the history. Do we have anything that showed up on your spirit boxes, by the way, before I get started with this location? Shouted? Okay, come here, look at this thing.
Bob
Century.
and Wayne.
Huge. What'd you get?
Bob and Wayne.
Bob and Wayne. And anything come up out of yours? Nothing? Susan? We gotta get you to the gist of that guy.
I know.
It's okay. Yours is the one that's recording, so you're gonna see how I spot those things tomorrow morning when I get you the data back. So, Philadelphia Alley behind me. This used to be called Jewelers Alley. Now, this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So, with that said, we all tell the same story of a duel because we can all prove that it happened. However, you're ghost hunting. I'm going to give you a little bit more detail than the other campfire-style ghost stories. So, here's what went on down here. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée, Amanda, I know history's boring, dude, but we got to get through it for ghost hunting. So, I call out every yawn, just so you guys know. I know you guys are tired, so I will try not to do it too badly. But anyway, his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, he comes to Charleston, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start. He was going to set him up at an inn, basically, where there was a gunman inside. But somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. R.I. shows up here all the time, but again, two different characters. We need to know which one it belongs to. We need a secondary clue. However, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. He's got a gunman inside. But you can stay with friends of mine at 59 Church Street. So he takes him up on the offer, and he's living with these friends at 59 Church Street at this point. Him and Ralph become friends. But they can't sit next to each other at the plays that they actually go visit. So if they're going to see a play together, the doctor makes more money. So he actually gets better seats. That's kind of how the hierarchy worked in Charleston. So they're talking about Richard III, a Shakespearean play one night on their way back from it, and they're arguing over the new actress. So the doctor thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. The argument gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and they go their separate ways. So Ralph, being from here, he's got friends at the newspaper, and he goes to his friends and puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Jewelers Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to make a point that he had the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. But Ralph, he has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor, so he doesn't die either. He falls to the ground, his friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You gotta remember, this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. Now, because I'll kind of give you the campfire ghost part of this, the doctor was a very jovial guy. He made a lot of money, and Amanda was moving down soon because of his money. He was known as the Whistling Doctor. So the name of the story is, everybody calls it the Whistling Doctor. They say as you walk through it here, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. Here's the weird thing. If you're going to do this on your own, which it sounds like you might, you can walk down there and turn on your voice recorders from your phone. Keep in mind, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland, the street we're on, or Queen Street on the other side, you already see where I'm going, they throw a whistle down the alley. However, I used to take my teams all the way through here, and it was all about the voice recorder to see if we would actually capture any whistles. Out here, you guys will get songs specifically with whistling in them. So like the Maroon 5 song, Moves Like Jagger, the old Guns N' Roses song, Patience, those songs have whistling in them that we won't hear anything else like it until we're at this space. So again, we're not through the alley, but we're close enough where it's going to stir up some things. So let's hear how I got booted out of here. Because Charlie's like, yeah, I'm ready for this part of the story. This alley didn't always go all the way through, so it was kind of blocked off on this end. So that means the other side has bricks that are older than the side we're looking at. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. So there is a full handprint and fingerprint swipes at the end of the alley. I would always go down there to kind of show them off, to show the history of how far we've come. We just stopped in front of the customs house. Same type of principle. I'm sure you guys gathered I'm all about the history. So, however, everybody wants to try to get a reading out of that brick with the handprint in it. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that damn brick in the afterlife. However, my group of November 26th of 2020 all huddled around that brick, hoping to get a reading or something on a spirit box, and it's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. He come out screaming, London, thought it was fantastic because Dad's getting yelled at. You know, that's kind of how that went down, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. So, it was the first year I had Thanksgiving off in decades because I was in retail management before I started doing this. The next day after that, I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to reroute my tour or go down halfway like everybody else. Again, I told you it's not fair for my 10 to work around 20 to 60. I'm going to reroute. But the story I was about to tell them, I didn't fully believe in. And I told them that because, again, I'm not going to sit here and make things up for you. I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating, but somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box before we left. They didn't know we were going to be investigating the female pirate Anne Bonny. So I'm like, all right, maybe something's actually going to come out of this. We get up there, I told the little bit I did know about piracy in Charleston, and somebody else hears the number 300. I don't know what that means. It was loud and clear. I do the research the next day. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720. We were there on November 28th of 2020, the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So again, these are part of the uncanny things that I see from time to time that I have no explanation for, but I keep taking you guys back up to that space in hopes that we're going to find more evidence of that location from Anne Bonny. Worst case scenario, because it is a hit or miss location, it's either we're going to get a lot or absolutely nothing. It is a matter of you guys will learn a whole hell of a lot about pirates as we're up in that area because I had to do a crap ton of research around pirate lore to get factual data so that way we can actually investigate a true investigation. So, London is actually not feeling well. Some of you are looking like, where's London? My car is like right here. So, she is sitting in the car on lockdown. She's in a garage. She's safe. So, I don't know what the hell's going on here. I think that's our cue. Cops come, we gotta go. No, I'm kidding. Head down this way.
I want to see what the police is doing now.
It's a dead body.
I'm pretty sure a fire truck won't be here too with a dead body. You the one that yanked your head. Huh?
Yeah, afterwards. So, Hulk too? Yeah. So the Hulk is here, everybody.
Didn't he say stop it?
Oh, we said once we get out the alley.
It's because I stopped it.
No. No.
I turned it back on.
No. What's going on?
Across that last crosswalk that comes down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to sit. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown. It was a walled city. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. Now, the names I asked you for, and again, we have a couple relevant ones, but they're not the names I commonly hear down here, which are Benjamin and John. Every 6 to 7 weeks, I get the same two names over and over again that you guys tell me you hear, Benjamin and John. Now, I will tell you that there is a Paul that lived down here. I want to say he was here in 1855, and then there was a Michael, I can't remember what year that was, and then Mary, she said, was in 1809. Now, Benjamin and John, when I say that I have the full list of every person that's ever lived down here, it's not very lengthy. So when I get the same common names over and over again, that's 2 out of 5 names that lived here in 1801, Benjamin and John. There were 4 different Johns that lived here, so you're thinking, yeah, it's a common name, man, big deal. John likes to give us his last name, Johnson. So we get Ben, John, and Johnson all in the same evening. Now, again, not like where it's a coincidence where I get it every 6 to 7 weeks. Here's what we're dealing with here. The bricks you're standing on, which you two were already looking at, I seen you kind of kicking them around. They've been here since 1739 that we know of. Again, it's a speculation at this point, but they've been here for a few hundred years. The point is that anything that has been, as far as stone, in the same place is called the stone tape theory. It can replay the memories of the consciousness of the memories that went on here during a time frame of things actually occurring. I have nothing significant about Benjamin and John other than their names that show up every 6 to 7 weeks. We are within that 6 to 7 week loop of where I commonly hear these names. So, that was weird that you got anything. Was that from your movement, you think?
Yeah.
So,
From our bell.
okay. Now go ahead and turn off the white button in the back because we are going to use the red screen, but not the motion sensor. Now,
So when it stopped on me, it stopped on me first. And then when it stopped on me, it stopped on me
okay. Technically. Now the bricks you're standing on, this is granite. So they call these Belgian blocks. They are not supposed to have any electrical charge to them whatsoever, even when you break them apart. If you break quartz apart, it gives off an electrical charge. So I literally want you, Charles, to put your device on a brick that's dry, hopefully not in the puddle. So just literally set it on the ground and let me know if you get any numbers whatsoever. So at times we'll see that thing spike up to about 9 to 15 milligauss in an area where there should not be any electricity whatsoever. I would expect up to a 1.1 because that's natural from the earth. So do you have any numbers at all?
3.8.
3.8. It's small, but again, I've seen it go all the way up to 15. I think 7 is the highest one. And 3.8, like the 3 has kind of been your matching number all night long, hasn't it?
Well, that's been 3.8.
Alright, we're going to let it sit there for just a minute. Just kind of keep an eye on it for us. Now, before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. So that's why they call it that. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons, so we'll get Mason, Freemason, and the term Illuminati loves to show up on the 2 red spear boxes with the earbuds that you guys are using. Now, the weird thing about that is you're listening to radio stations, and who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? So that's the first question. Second, we only hear it while we're in this space. Last year we had it show up 6 times, and so far this year it's been 3. So again, you can't make this stuff up, and you have to chuckle every time you hear it because it's like, really? Illuminati again? Or we'll get the word symbols that will show up here all the time too. So it's a very interesting space indeed. Is that the highest it's been?
3.8, yeah.
3.8. Alright, go ahead and pick up your device. So again, we don't spend a lot of time here because we're right next to the hotel. We are going to go up to another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it. Why? I've been kicked out. So you guys have all the blinky lights and noisemakers and all of that, and it is considered residential at the end. However, I still tell you what happened there outside the alley because it stirs things up a little bit, and we will get crews from that space like the video we had from Big John's to Pinckney's through the rest of our evening because we're going to be relatively close to that space at the glass stop, which is
We ain't
Y'all trying to go down there with my equipment? Yeah, that neighbor will come out. I'll tell you how I got booted out of there. So, again, that's the fun part of the story. You're exactly right. That is the fun part. So, but again, you're going to see other tours going down there. We're allowed to go down halfway. But it's not fair for my 10 people to try to investigate space when there's 20 to 60 other people down there in half of an alley. You can see how skinny this is, and it's no bigger over there. So again, that's part of the reason anyway. We weren't getting a whole lot of space once they called me and said I wasn't allowed to go down there anymore. So I was kind of like, all right, we'll just reroute. But I'll tell you that story once we get there. those of you with video recorders, you're going to stop your videos as we exit because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. We don't record people's houses just like we
David. Huh? I'm sorry. I think you should hold it. Right in front of my wrist. I can't hear that. How old was your oldest child when she died, or when they died?
I'm sorry, I'm having issues.
I mean, I guess we could put 38. I guess we could put 38.
We got David.
38 David and Mark.
Huh?
38 David and Mark. One.
Why you always in the mood? You heard that song on there.
What?
Why you always in the mood? What was the agenda?
You find anything?
Not yet. I mean, I haven't been looking on the camera. Huh?
Yeah,
What
her
name did you
name.
get?
We got David, Mark, Paige.
Paige. Where'd the names come from? Oh, in there.
Oh, that's probably the kids.
Mine like little radio trail went really high over here.
Huh?
Face that?
Did you hear Isabella?
Yeah, just now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an old name
You
too.
got about to say, but that's from like a whole different from a. That sound like from an actual like in between the things, in between the white noise.
You heard mom and daddy too?
That sound like a kid.
It did.
Honey. 20.
Huh?
20.
20.
We should look for the number 38. I mean, we should.
Well, 38.
Well, I said 38 to over there.
It could be something significant.
Huh?
Something significant could have happened around that area.
We're getting a lot. We're getting a lot. Well, we're focused on names and ages. So we got Mark, David. We got Mark, David, Isabella, Paige.
I got water.
We got
And that's not how we do
we got 38, 20, and 1. How old was your firstborn when you had your second?
Anything coming up from you guys?
We got Isabella.
Okay.
We got Mark, David.
We heard the number 28.
28?
I mean 38.
It was 38, 20, and then 1.
I was excited about 28, not 38. So, again, none of these are relevant. We do have one of Big John's jersey numbers, and we did have the word neck show up on the word list. Kind of vague that we have neck in 20. 20 was his first jersey number. His second jersey number was 52. We will get bleed over from being only a block away from Big John's bar. After we leave this space, we will not hear from the Pinkies or Big John anymore. Everything else will be relevant to the spaces we're in. So again, it's just kind of giving you the gist of how I normally see things on a nightly basis. It does bleed over a little bit. Again, am I taking that as like super great relevance? Not until I get the name John or the, say, New York Giants pops up or something along those lines. Something a little bit more specific. Because the word neck could just be coincidence. And the fact you have 20 could also be coincidence. So again, when I have more clues that are going to really tie it down, I'm going to do one more quick round robin with everybody, and then I'm going to pull us back to the area where we started and kind of give you guys all the answers based on what we actually have going on here.
Her name as soon as he said names.
Huh?
Her name as soon as he said name.
I should have kind of stuck with 28 because he said 28. Like he got excited about that 28. So something had to happen.
I mean, but we also got 20.
True. What if we go back and he's like, yeah, none of these names were correct.
I mean, that's just what we're hearing.
And the crabs begin.
Well, you can't be singing. I'm supposed to be listening to the thing. Jeez. We doing paranormal stuff and you still sound like it said Aaron.
Aaron. Aaron.
She's on her knees. It's crazy.
Huh?
She on her knees is crazy.
Arlene?
Ma. Roger.
Roger.
What is it?
Turn it down.
28. 28 and 25.
Okay, turn it down.
Oh, we can tell them. We
I
just
got
got,
collapsed.
Collapsed?
we got Aaron, Roger. We got Aaron and then Lil Rogers. And then 28 and 25.
So here's what I'm excited about. We had the word neck show up. Go ahead and mute yours. Those of you with videos, if you want to stop your videos, you can. Yours is going to be the little button on the way to the right. Got it. Yep, go ahead. It's not going to be the numbers like 12 and 14, like the colonial times that she came from. Again, according to today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap back in colonial times. Definitely a creepy age gap now. So just kind of keep that in mind if you guys are going to ask her about their ages at marriage. But anyway, she married him because her father was over in England, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he could see them before he dies. She didn't think he was dying, so she got married. 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card or citizenship. We're not even a country yet. She married Charles out of love, and even after Charles died, because remember, he is over double her age, he definitely went first, she did remain a widow. So again, there was no like foul play affair kind of stuff going on with Eliza. A lot of people like to poke the bear with that. But anyway, her father did get better. He starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. So you guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. Definitely all day, apparently, according to you guys being booked all day. But with that being said, she didn't know what to do with this indigo when she got it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. Most of the slaves that were here came from Goa. So basically they were agriculturists. She was learning from them. Once she figured it out, they worked with her and moved it to another plantation just south of here near the Stono River. And then she calls her father up and says that the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. And indigo basically is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. I don't think anybody here has it on. Oh, Susan has it on. So we're wearing black. So now that's basically how we use it today, just so you know what indigo actually is. Now, that's basically Eliza's business. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why everybody's here. So let's kind of go through the spirit boxes. So with the digital word list that we have going on, I want you to go after Eliza. There was 2 different wives named Eliza, by the way. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. See which Eliza we're dealing with? The weird thing about that whole scenario is that the first wife, Eliza, she died in January of 1744. He married the one I just spoke about in May of 1744, 5 months later. One dies, 5 months later, he's married again to a woman with the same name as the first. So they both have a maiden name that starts with L. Figure out which one. The other thing you're going to go after is ages with their marriages. So kind of that way you kind of have a small series of questions to be able to work with. Let's see. Where's our next one? So with yours, you're going to go after the kids. I want you to find out how many children there are and what their names are. That's it. Don't ask any other questions. The reason for that is because there's a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear too hard, all activity will stop, including the little bit of EMF spikes that we're getting already. They're small, but again, they're still noteworthy. So again, names and how many children Eliza had. So that will be your focus. Let's see. Where's our other spirit boxes at? What else do I have out here? With yours, Arlene, the mansion's not here anymore. Ask what happened to it and when did that happen. So again,
I'll hit the unmute button.
you will. Yep. Okay. Susan, with yours, you're going to go after Eliza herself with her death. Anything you want to ask, her age, when did she die from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, anything you want to about her death. I'm just giving you a lot of the specific questions that we commonly get answers to. So again, specific details. London, you know how this works. You can pretty much ask any one of those questions if you want to. Only everything's going to pop up out of her. Basically, she has a digital Ouija board if you really want to think of it that way. There are... Yeah, and emojis are on there too. It has a different emoji settings so they can tell us how they feel. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, but we're going to use the letters for it only. Now, there are vehicles in here. We are going to spread out. We're not going to go in between vehicles. People don't like their cars filmed, like I said earlier. So just kind of stay away from the vehicles. We actually have plenty of space to work in, but we are going to stay within the confines of these walls. And you guys are going to see me bouncing around all of you to be writing down notes of things that are actually going on with your devices in real time. So that way I can kind of piece the puzzle together for you before we leave the space. I will give you all of these answers. So again, I need to work with Charles. We'll show him how to use that motion sensor. But everybody else, let's spread out, have some fun. London, start bouncing around with some of these folks. And what happened to it? Got it.
3.6.
3.6.
Eliza, what's your last name?
What should I ask it?
How many kids?
Huh?
How many kids?
You ask.
You're scared to talk to a spirit?
Yes. It ain't coming home with me. It could come home with you.
We're going to the same spot. Is there a newborn?
I don't think so. I don't know what you're looking for. Is there like a mute button on there, or can you just talk? I said, is there like a unmute button or a mute button on there, or can you just talk? So, like volume wise? the wheels right here, so you can turn it all the way down, and then you can turn it as loud as you want.
We're just talking out loud. We're just talking out loud.
Huh?
We're just talking out loud. Huh? What's your kids' names and how many?
No, ask one question at a time. Did you hear a name?
I think so.
What'd you hear? What'd you hear?
I don't know. How many boys do you have in your family?
I think I kind of heard 7. How did your kids die?
Did not what? Affect your first one, but you can't look at writing it down. That's not an easy job to look at that guy. That's where you're finding out. Alright, what's coming up out of your guys' spirit box? Anything?
A lot.
What are you hearing?
Just a lot of songs. It sounded like a couple kids, like a couple names came through, but
Like
I
what?
really can't tell.
Okay.
Sound like I heard Paige.
Okay.
I heard living.
Are you getting where he's hearing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you haven't said a word since we all met up, so except for your own name, of course, but you're gonna probably correct me again later on. But yeah, just keep listening in. You're getting the right gist. So again, nice slow movements out of this, and when people are going to their cars, just kind of point that thing to the ground.
Mhm.
People get a little weird about that.
Okay. Mark. 38, but I know you ain't had no 38 kids.
You never know. How many kids did you have?
Let's try to come over here. What was the age of when your kids died?
Mill that goes around this place. So, with that being said, that's your heated warning. We're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, fingers crossed, because again, I can't make the ghosts do anything because they're not on the payroll. Whatever happens, happens. Upstairs? People actually live upstairs.
No, did Big John live upstairs?
Probably not. More than likely. He was a Hall of Famer, so he definitely was not living in a small apartment above his own bar.
Yeah.
But
you never know what he was doing up there.
Anybody gets any of those symptoms that I mentioned, the headache, the nausea, the dizziness, I need to know immediately. We're going to blame the heat and humidity first, but again, we're going to move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair to everybody? Again, heat, humidity in the summertime is always first, because again, we're here to debunk things, not make things up. So, let's get our minds off our own health, because a lot of people get a little worried about that, especially when I got kids on the floor. We don't have any kids tonight, obviously, but you guys been taking any historical tours in Charleston at all?
I mean, the plantation.
Oh, yeah, we went to Boone Hall. We went to
We
Boone Hall.
did.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did the round town one, and then we did the dungeon thing.
The Provost Dungeon?
Yeah,
So
we went to Boone Hall.
So you've probably heard about the big earthquake that we had in 1886 then.
Yes.
So this building is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. So the reason I bring that up is because the white mantle in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of it broke off during the earthquake, hit somebody in the back of the head, and killed them, and they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. Notice I said allegedly, and they say a lot with that one. I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, that was supposed to be a joke. Man, you guys are really willing. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes,
Alright, we're going to actually head this way. So we're going to go in front of Charles.
Everybody go in front of me. What you say? I could be anywhere with the cameras. I'm the cameraman.
I don't mind.
Papa Bug just flew by. Either a bug, well, I think it's a bug. We won't say a bug.
So, your first stop. We're not going to be here long because we're just here to, talk more about your devices and kind of give you a better gist of what's actually going on with your devices. Welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So, it's not where we keep all of them, of course, but just some of them. The history here is really simple, and it's just an example so we can talk more about all these devices. This is where they used to keep horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here being delivery, milk, and eggs. So, let's talk about those spirit boxes. This is not TV, nor is it a Ouija board. What's the first question everybody wants to ask on TV or to a Ouija board for your movies?
Are you here?
Are you here? Is anybody here? If somebody says no, that means somebody's here. So, we are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. Even if you're skeptic and you're here for just some fun, you're not going to get any kind of paranormal evidence out of yes and no answers. So, that's why we're using London's new device. It does have a yes and no on it, but we will not be using it at all on my tours, just so you guys know. When I'm teaching people how to use spirit boxes, yeah, she's sitting down. She's sitting down. So,
Sorry.
she's not lazy, don't let her fool everybody. I put her to work all day. So, with that said, when I'm teaching people how to use the spirit boxes that are all in your hands on a nightly basis, I tell you guys to ask questions you already know the answers to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. Now, most of you, aside from Noreen, are using the visual spirit box where you don't have to actually listen to it. The rest of you have like radio DJs and song lyrics that are conveying messages back to us. The word red might not be available to them, but fire truck, blood, heart. Those three things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer if we heard one of those three items. What color is the big red barn? Blood. good with that. However, most of the night, I'm
Blood
gonna.
is blue.
What's that?
Blood is blue for real.
Come on.
Until it hits oxygen.
Till it hits oxygen. I would take that until, but most of the time I'm going to require that there's actually two things actually happening. That would be an EMF spike, or two devices having something going on with them, or one device having more than one thing going on with it. So for example, let's say our word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here. Within Susan here is the number 40 on hers. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting clues together all night long. So again, that's how these spirit boxes
Never a direct answer. It's clear.
usually not. So again, and even then, even when I see something that's like, oh, we have the number 40, I'm not going to give you the whole story behind that. I'm going to withhold information and kind of wait to see if there's more to it that's coming out of the spirit boxes that you guys are telling me about. So kind of keep that in mind as we're kind of going through this. Let's talk about those cameras. So let's go with the thermal first. So Sean, you're going to try to do two things for us. You're going to try to keep one of us in view, only because we're going to be the warmest thing out here, and that's going to give us the array of color on your screen. Much easier to find cold spots if like a 97 to 99 degree person is in view. So again, the other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out. The reason why is because that blue dot is going to default to the sky looking for a surface. There's no surface on the sky. So again, we want to kind of keep that blue dot on things that actually have a surface to them, so that way we can actually see the legit cold spots around us. So again, some places that will be impossible, just do your best. What do you have? Jet? Yeah, I got nothing. It was the New York Giants, not the New York Jets. So, AJ, with your camera, nice slow movements. Again, we're looking for orbs on that guy. We're not using the lasers tonight, so it's not going to be like you have an accompanying person shining lasers down on the ground. So again, nice slow movements. Cool thing is you can take the other earbud from her and you can actually listen in on that spirit box too. So again, that's part of the reason, like, the camera work isn't always the most, in the field kind of excitement. So it's usually about those spirit boxes. That's why we use so many different styles of them. So the only other person I need to work with is Charles on his device, and that's going to be at the next location. So again, have you seen any colors come out of yours yet?
No.
No, nothing at all. All right, so London, go ahead and reset your device because we're going to head over to Pinky Mansions. Does anybody have any questions before we move out of this space? Okay, fine, just easy group.
Turn it up a little bit.
We're leaving the ponies. We're getting away from football players and ponies. We're going to talk about history. So let's do this, all right? It's for you guys a little bit. Wake you up.
Turn it up a little bit. Turn it up a little bit. I can't hear nothing.
Like your music, spirit, air, and static.
We might have to go in front. I'm gonna take it out to go in front. I'm gonna take it out to go in front and I'm gonna go in front.
All right, everybody. Welcome to your first location, your parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. Charles, is this what you guys are see? Out here in the parking lot? Zero. Okay, any issues at all? Yeah. Up to 1.1 is actually.
Blue dot.
Come on over 2.5.
Well, I say I just hit a little
So let's
like a
talk
blue
about why
dot
we're
over
here.
there.
Come on in, guys, because that's the only entrance and exit to this location. So I thought a little bit up to the yellow. See, I got the same kind of reading. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about that. We got to get through the history first. Go ahead and hit the circle on your. There you go, on the left-hand side. There you go. Perfect. All right. So welcome to the Pinckney Mansion site, everybody. This place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Sat in the front of the space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there, and then the servant and slave quarters were right back here where we're standing right now. So I kind of like to give you the layout of the land before we actually get started with the history. So, who the heck were these people? well, I guess first off, spirit boxes, this is the first location where I'm going to withhold information. I'm not going to tell you everything I know about the Pinklings on purpose. So that way you guys all have a genuine experience. So if we heard anything along the way over here, by the way, or had any words pop up,
It said clown and it says order.
so it's calling me a very orderly clown. Very good. Got it. Duly noted. So, and did anybody hear anything on your spirit boxes? Did you get anything out of yours? Are you getting the gist of how to listen to it? Did you turn the volume up? All right, cool. Susan, anything on yours before I get started?
No, just a lot static and
Remember, it's the radio station with the voices coming through.
I know.
All right, so let's get into it. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. Not to mention we have a 4th with us tonight. So this is going to be very interesting how this is actually going to turn out. So now you guys see why I look for those secondary clues. I need to know who the heck we're talking to. I mean, we never know which Charles it's actually going to be. But the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics, so we're going to move on to Eliza. Eliza has a much different lifestyle than a politician. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she messed up with the camera, just because again, it is pretty humid for us out here tonight. Let's see. Cameras, or spirit boxes, rather. We already got all the cameras out. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. That's why we use them. We want to talk to them, right? We want to see what the hell they're actually going to have to say. Now, spirit boxes, normally on your TV shows, are basically the white noise that you guys would normally hear, and then your host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time with 5 different spirit boxes tonight. We're going to be using several different styles, all because they do something a little bit differently from the next one. Now this one in particular is going to provide that white noise, but I will tell you that finding the disembodied voices that they give you on TV is a rarity. We only capture about 4 or 5 of those a year. I have these slowed down on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through, Susan. So when you're listening to this guy, I want to know what the radio chatter says. It's a 50-50 shot that we can tie to the location of where we are, a person in history that we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. So the cool thing is you're going to get this recording back tomorrow morning because Susan's going to have an earbud in. She's going to be the only one to hear it in real time unless she wants to share it with Charles. So, lucky you, right?
Yeah.
So, again, the recording, it doesn't record any outside noise. So it's not going to know what we're saying on the outside. It's only going to record the radio sweep, and you can turn the volume up and down all night long as much as you want. It's not going to mess up the recording. So again, with yours, earbuds are yours. You get to keep those. Your earwax is gross. I don't want it back. So undo the twist tie for that, and then your volume button is right here at the top. It's the wheel. Remember, you're listening for radio chatter. Whatever comes through the radio is what I want you to tell us what you're actually hearing. If you hear a Ford commercial that says, buy a Ford Ranger today, I want to know that you heard buy a Ford Ranger today.
Do I ask some questions?
We're going to go through each location. I'm just distributing the devices at this point. Let's see where we're going. I actually have 2 of these, but this one is not going to record. I'm going to be manually writing down anything that actually comes up out of this, just so that it goes into your notes tomorrow morning. So, Ivana, did I get that name right?
Ivana.
Yeah, Ivana. So, again, your earwax is gross. You get to keep that, and your volume button is right here at the top. It's the wheel, not the button. So again, you'll have to undo the twist tie and pop an earbud in. This spirit box we don't actually have to listen to. This spirit box is going to give us a series of words from time to time in the center of the screen. This is going to replace what you guys would normally see as an obelisk on TV. So, with that said, right now there's no words up there, but it will save all the terms to a list with timestamps on it. It kind of helps us go through when we have the recordings on the video, anything from the spirit boxes, and we can see if things start to match up. So again, love this list, but I'm going to clear out what was done last time. There was 96 terms and phrases that popped up. What I'm going to tell you is that this is a phone app. It has 9,100 words in it. The thing you normally see on TV, the obelisk, only has 2,048. So this has almost 5 times the amount that you would normally see from the device on TV that's meant for ghost hunting. So we're basically using its dictionary. So hopefully we're going to actually have quite a bit that comes out of this, but normally only about 20% is going to be relevant for a space or location. So, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Nori. So that one's going to go to you. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'll come to you when I want to see the list. Again, it's a cell phone with a battery pack attached to the back. I know it's got some weight to it. Try Stars are probably wondering what the hell I got set up for you. I do want to get all of these spirit boxes out of the way. Arlene, you're going to get our newest spirit box. Normally goes to the person that booked the whole group, because this one works completely different than all of the others. So this spirit box is going to run through the AM and FM radio stations at the same time and try to take out the white noise that the other two spirit boxes are giving back to its listeners and only give you words. That's the hope. Doesn't always work out that way, but the words you're going to hear, you're only going to hear about 10 or 12 words total for our whole time period together. The only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it with the thing already.
Relax.
She's like, these bugs are biting me. The bugs are biting me.
Welcome to Charleston, we're chock full of them. The blinking lights, Arlene, are the top. So on the right-hand side, when you're looking at the face of it, there's only one button there. It's the mute button. I already have it turned on because we're going to be near some ponies later, and I don't want to spook them just yet. That's our next stop. So I'll let you know when it's going to be safe to unmute your device.
Okay.
So just kind of get a feel for where that button is.
Where'd you say it was?
It's on the right-hand
right here.
side.
Up here. On the
Oh,
side.
okay.
Yeah.
This little push button here
Yep.
on the side?
Yep. It's the only one there.
Okay.
Then you? Alright, so you guys have probably seen these on your TV shows, right? So these are pretty much a must-have. We use these to debunk things. So parking meters, electrical wires, your cell phone too close, that kind of thing. So Becky, all you got to do with this guy is let me know what color shows up. I already have the measurements memorized, so just let me know what colors. But because this is such an easy job, I'm giving you two. So you actually get to take pictures for us all night long. Again, we never know what's going to pop up in the pictures, but I will tell you that there's no flash on this camera. I turned it off. I don't want any false positives coming through, so when you're taking pictures, nice and still. So the more still you are, the clearer the picture is going to be. Hopefully we can capture some anomalies that way. So again, take 5 pictures, take 500 pictures. Completely up to you. I will go through them all. Selfies get deleted, just so everybody knows. So it goes to not in selfie pictures. Charles, you get to carry the bag. No, I'm kidding. So this device is actually a multi-function device. So we call this a millimeter. So basically this is going to have an electromagnetic field meter in it, just like Becky's. So it's an additional format. Anything above 2.5 is like the second green dot. So again, let me know anything above 2.5. We'll figure out what's going on, whether it's coming from something man-made or not. So the bottom is ambient temperature. In the event Shine actually finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it with the yellow probe at the top. So again, you and I will figure out that when it actually occurs. It's just there at the ready in case we need it. And last but not least, it has a motion sensor in it. So if anything gets close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it's gonna go off. I'm not touching it right now. I'm touching it now. So we don't use that at every space. So I'll show you at the first space that we'll use it on how a little bit more detail about the antenna and the motion sensor. So I'm gonna push that in for now, just kind of get used to where those red numbers are and how those actually will move about. Everybody's geared up, right? All right, Arlene, you're in charge. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere. You guys are like either whooped or it's like been too hot all day. Like
I said whoops. A little bit of both.
We're tired. Heat.
I ain't used to this.
Where are you guys from?
Iowa.
Iowa. Ooh.
That's a surprise.
And where are you guys at again?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my wife is actually from that area.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
she's from Latrobe.
Oh, okay.
So,
She got used to it.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm from Ohio, so
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not used to it. Yeah, we had to. I mean, but in the wintertime, like your blood will thin. So,
Love the winter.
Now it doesn't skate.
skate,
It's said elsewhere.
skate elsewhere.
Elsewhere in the state.
So again, you're gonna get radio stations. So it's gonna be song lyrics, DJs, commercials. That's what I want you listening for. So remember, like it's a 50-50 shot, and it's not about like what song you heard, it's about what lyric you heard.
Oh, okay.
You see where? Yeah. So again, no matter how silly you think it might be,
In
it
commercials,
might
it's like
actually be
static,
relevant to the
then a
location that
song.
we're going.
What kind of commercial?
So let's talk about the space of where we're at now, because there's a reason why we start here. This is Big John's behind me. So Big John's was owned by a football player who played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always slow down on the keywords for all of the spirit boxes that are actually in play. So, with that said, the keywords here are going to be 47, New York, and Giants. So, because that's the team he played for, anything relative to a bar and the name John. So, I guess with all three cameras that are out and about right now, I guess let me give this warning now that somebody's already taken a picture of somebody's apartment.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So, we're going to be in some spaces where there's going to be parked cars and people walking by. People do not like their cars to be filmed or pictures taken of, and they don't like to be filmed because we look like a bunch of vloggers out here ready for a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So, if I do like an Andy's coming kind of mentality, so basically, AJ, you're going to point your camera directly at the ground, so that way yours is really obvious. Shine, yours is really easy because you're holding a cell phone, and of course, you're going to stop taking pictures of vehicles. So, do you have anything relative to Big John on there yet?
Nope. FULK?
No. Back to Big John. So Big John, let's talk about why the place is haunted, because there's a reason why we're here. He used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. And one night, two guys came in, they weren't old enough to drink. So he had the bartender throw them out, and they leave pretty angry. And they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on at his own bar, slams down his beer, and goes over and starts beating the hell out of these two guys. I mean, just slamming them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off while they're wrestling around on the floor. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. So he's only been grazed. After he's been shot, it's the only one that's been shot, by the way, he gets up and goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in an ambulance. So, normally if I tell you that a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that actually occurred here. That's not the case in this particular location. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if this new renovation of Big John's filled it in, Big John's blood is in the walls of this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. And those are the